rolling.
My name is Ranford Plummer and I'm from Jamaica.
My name is Rushan Jodh and I'm from India.
So my name is Harmandeep Kaur and I'm from Punjab, India.
My name is Rubai Padam and I am from a city called City Beautiful. It is from the north of India, which is as beautiful as Edmonton.
My name is Sharon and I'm from Kenya. It's a country in East Africa.
My name is Aldrich Luis Biantinor. I'm from the Philippines.
I chose NorQuest College because it was very friendly to me. From the International Student Office was amazing. They answered all my questions, they satisfied all my concerns. They look out for our best interests. They give us all the supports we need. The technology here is amazing. And I think that NorQuest gives you that holistic learning experience.
You can gain real-world experience and the teachers are so supportive. You can feel comfortable here. There are like 77 languages spoken on campus.
At first I thought it would be so intimidating. Students are like from all over, from different ages. The diversity in the school, it's so interesting.
Life in Canada is really, really amazing, especially for women. This is a beautiful city to be in.
Here in Edmonton, we're so hospitable to me, very caring.
I would describe Edmonton as a very beautiful place.
People here are really, really respectful. They respect you for what you are.
The advice I would give to prospective students is don't be afraid.
Don't doubt yourself. Don't limit your expectations. There are many places that you can go. There's a lot that you can achieve here at NorQuest College.
There are great opportunities in Canada, especially for international students.
When you come down here, you'll actually learn a lot about yourself. You're making a personal investment. You have so much support. You learn to grow.
The thing that I really like about my program is that I could be an advocate for this. It really brings me joy that in the long run, as of today, I could use the knowledge that I gained in my program, help the people around me.
Once you come here, only then you realize how much good it can be to your life and how much it can add to your experience.
Most people think that coming to a different country, coming to a different college is hard, but just take the first step.
Buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es Bruno Perón y a nombre de Class Education les quiero dar la más cordial bienvenida a este webinario del día de hoy, 6 de octubre. Tenemos mucho que hablar el día de hoy, sin embargo, antes de empezar quiero hacer un anuncio rápido que este webinario está siendo grabado y toda la gente que se registró con nosotros recibirá la misma grabación mañana. Al mismo tiempo estamos en Facebook Live, estamos en YouTube, estamos en Twitter. Entonces, tenemos un equipo en cada plataforma dispuesto ya, listo para contestar a sus preguntas, si tienen preguntas durante el webinario. Y en más o menos 20-30 minutos tomaremos sus preguntas en vivo para el beneficio de todos que están conectados. Esos son rápidamente los anuncios. Para la gente que no nos conocen, ya tenemos, pues ya son 6 meses, ¿no?, que estamos haciendo estos webinarios. Ya es el webinario número 54 o 55, algo así. Los hacemos cada martes y jueves y los hacemos para darles mucha información de valor, información que les puede ayudar a tomar decisiones ahorita. Y es lo que también hicimos la semana pasada cuando nos enteramos que nuestro gobierno canadiense decidió volver a abrir la frontera canadiense. Entonces me imagino que hoy tendremos muchas preguntas. Vamos a hablar de eso con mi invitado de hoy, que es consultor en inmigración también, además de ser el gerente de reclutamiento internacional de NorQuest College. Entonces vamos a hablar un poco más adelante. Nada más una última cosa antes de empezar. La gente que no nos conoce todavía, Class Education somos una agencia canadiense establecido aquí en México desde ya más de 26 años. Nos dedicamos a dar todos los servicios relacionados con lo que es estudiar en Canadá y en el extranjero. Nuestro razón de ser es encontrar el programa y las instituciones adecuadas para cada uno de ustedes en base a sus necesidades, y ofrecemos una gama amplia de servicios como es lo de la orientación para encontrar la institución y el programa de sus necesidades, los trámites de visados, servicios de hospedaje a su llegada a Canadá, coordinación del viaje para que vayamos por ustedes cuando llegan al aeropuerto, un servicio antes, durante y después de sus estudios en Canadá, el seguimiento por la parte de migración cuando quieren aplicar por su Postgraduate Work Permit, y eventualmente también más allá adelante para su residencia, si así lo desean. Entonces, es un servicio all-inclusive, como llamamos en inglés, un servicio todo incluido en un solo lugar con una sola empresa. Y somos un grupo de profesionales que se dedican a eso desde ya más de 26 años, ya con más de 10,000 alumnos servidos que han estudiado en Canadá o que siguen estudiando en Canadá con nosotros. ¿Ok? Entonces, ese es quiénes somos, y como decía, cada martes y jueves hacemos estos webinarios para apoyarlos y ayudarlos a iniciar esos trámites, ¿no? Hablando de trámites, pues hubo una noticia increíble el viernes pasado que comentó nuestro gobierno. Algunos de ustedes ya sabrán. Vamos a hablar un poco más de eso en la presentación de hoy. Pero básicamente Canadá está volviendo a abrir sus puertas estrictamente para alumnos internacionales, que es lo que nos preocupaba a nosotros porque ya tenía 6 meses cerrado. Eso empieza el 20 de octubre. Hay ciertas reglas que seguir, hay un proceso que llevar, y hoy vamos a hablar de eso y vamos a decirle por qué es importante iniciar esos procesos ya y qué estamos haciendo nosotros en Class Education para apoyarlos en ese sentido, ¿no? Tenemos un descuento especial esta semana, y la escuela que nos acompaña hoy también tiene algo que les quiere compartir también como forma de apoyo. Ok, entonces les quiero presentar nuestro invitado del día de hoy, que es el señor Suraj Vashit. Es el gerente de reclutamiento internacional. Suraj, are you there? Esta presentación va a ser en inglés porque Suraj no habla español. Hi, Suraj, how are you?
Good. How are you doing? Thank you, Bruno, for the opportunity.
Yeah, I did a little introduction in Spanish there for everyone,
Okay.
to make sure everyone was understanding.
Okay.
It's good to see
Thank
you
you.
again. How are things in Edmonton?
Yeah, it's good. It's improving. Things are not so bad. And as I was looking at one of your extracts. So yeah, I think as things are opening up on the 20th of October, so we are excited for that as well.
Absolutely. Big news. Big
Yes.
news that we were waiting for a long time.
Yes.
And I love the way Canada is managing this crisis, to be honest. I think we're being cautious, yet at the same time, very professional, very proactive. And I think learning from other countries as well. And anyway, so it is happening. October 20th is when we will start receiving international students again. And
Yep.
I'm sure you'll tell us all about it, because you'll tell us about it from the college point of view as well as from an immigration consultant point of view, because you are a licensed immigration consultant as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll go over that.
Perfect. Okay. So let's go through the presentation. I'll be standing by, Suraj, and then we'll take some questions together afterwards, okay?
Okay, sure. Thank you. Okay, well, hello everybody. I'm sorry, can't speak Spanish, but I'll speak slowly my English so that you can catch it up, because sometimes when I start speaking, I speak really fast. So I'll try to be a little slow on that. So and we'll talk a little bit about why Edmonton, why should you choose Edmonton, why NorQuest College, what's so special about us. So we'll go to the next slide, and we'll talk a little bit about, before we jump into the information about the college, we'll talk a little bit about the labor market of Alberta, and then probably it will make sense why you should choose those programs. Okay, so the labor market in Alberta, as you see in the presentation, there are few occupations which are in very high demand, and I'll quickly go through it. So you'll see that a lot of the occupations that you see here are in health, like licensed practical nurse are in very high demand in Alberta. Social workers, which is one of the social or humanities programs. We have a lot of demand for therapists. And again, there are a lot of therapists. We have physiotherapists, occupational therapists, recreation therapists, speech therapists, all those kind of therapists are in very high demand. And also we have a lot of frontline managers, which we call administrative service managers, retail and wholesale trade managers. They're also in high demand. And then home support worker and related occupations, and some health services related occupations which are in high demand. And it will make more sense in our further slides. You'll see what are the big job sectors where you'll find most of the jobs. And on the right hand side, you're seeing the average wages. So the average wages in different sectors varies. So if you're going to work and you're taking a program in healthcare, the average salary in that sector is roughly around $31 per hour. In educational services, this is around 34. Forestry is around 42. Public administration is 38. And business and other support services is roughly around 24. Again, this is the average salary information that we've got latest from the alberta.ca. So that's our labor market website where you can go and see all the trends, what is happening within the Alberta labor market. So you can see that. And the reason I'm going through all this information, because a lot of times students ask me, the first question they have in their mind is, which program should I take? And I always suggest students that before you take the program, check the labor market of that province, because Canada has different provinces and every province is very different. And the economy and the labor market of each province is very different. And that's why you see different programs in different colleges. And the programs we offer in NorQuest College in Edmonton is based on what is in demand in our market. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide and we'll talk a little bit about a little bit more in depth in labor market demand. So in Alberta, we define that demand into two kind of ways. One is what we call is a replacement demand. So replacement demand is like those demand which is not so great, which means the senior people will retire and the young people will take their place. And then we have what we call expansion demand, which means that the job sector is increasing. And within that expansion demand, there is also two sections where there are certain occupations where we need more than 1,000 workers every year for next 10 years. And then there are some occupations where we need less than 1,000 workers for next 10 years. So what we are going to do is focus only on those occupations which are in a very, very high demand, which means they are expansion demand in that. And plus we need more than 1,000 workers every year for next 10 years. So some of the occupations in that are early learning and childcare. Then we have administrative assistant, receptionist, home builder and renovation managers, administrative officers, journal office support workers, accounting technician and bookkeepers, and of course, health occupations. So any what we call allied health occupations. So not just doctors and nurses, but anything that is related to health. And there is going to be high demand, as you see in the second bullet point. There is a lot of demand in rural and remote Alberta. So there's a lot of positions which are not filled. And even a lot of people, a lot of nurses, a lot of doctors and other kind of health professionals move from other provinces like BC. We have a lot of nurses who come from BC to look for a job in rural Alberta because there's such a high demand of jobs in that particular area. So I just...
When there's a higher demand, there's also a higher salary, I imagine, right?
Yes, so there is a higher salary, definitely. That's true. And also these are really high demand occupations because what they're saying is that there is a lot of shortage of labor, especially in rural Alberta in health. And then in urban Alberta, which is Edmonton and Calgary, there's a lot of demand for the programs like early learning and childcare, front managers, and also technicians, accounting technicians and bookkeepers. So those are the few occupations. Just want to give everyone a perspective so they have an idea of the labor market. So if you go into the next slide, these are the top 10 sectors where there are jobs in Alberta. So the maximum number of jobs in Alberta are in retail and wholesale trade. And then the second followed in healthcare and social assistance, then in construction, then professional, scientific and technical services, then educational services, then accommodation and food services. And then we have a huge oil and gas and mining sector as well. Then we have manufacturing, then transportation and warehousing, and finance, insurance, and real estate. So what you'll see is all our programs are in the top 10 sector. And that's intentional because pretty much 60 to 70% of the jobs are in these top 10 sectors in Alberta. And that's why we intentionally are focusing on these top 10 sectors. So our students, once they graduate, they have a higher chance because these are the big sectors where there are jobs. So just again, want to give that perspective. Also, some things to compare with. So when you're choosing a province, I think we always look into what are the benefits. So a few things I want to point out here is like why Alberta is a good province as compared to other provinces, and few benefits of that. So I think the first most big benefit is cost saving. So the cost of living in Alberta is little lesser. The accommodation and food, if we compare with Ontario and BC, especially the big cities like Toronto and Vancouver, the cost of living in Edmonton is less, around roughly between $700 to $1,500. Again, it's an average estimate. It varies between that range. Also, the other benefit of Alberta is the taxes are less. It's only 5% as compared to other places where it's 13 to 12%. So things are cheaper. If you're buying anything, phone, laptop, anything you're buying, you're paying less taxes, which means the prices are less in those, of any commodity you're buying. And also there are more immigration options in Alberta. So if one of your objective is that after I graduate, I want to settle down, yeah, there's definitely a very attractive immigration program, which I'll talk about later on. And that's why you see 3 smiley faces there, because yeah, that's a big benefit. And so the employment outcomes, I would say the sectors that are in Alberta, they are very wide. As I mentioned, there are 10 sectors: oil and gas, healthcare, educational services, and also you make more money in Alberta. The average salary is higher, and it's the reason why it's higher because the average salaries are higher, and then again the minimum wage in Alberta is the highest as compared to any province in Canada, because in Canada, every province have a minimum wage set. So in Alberta, it's $15 an hour. And again, if there's less taxes you're paying, you're earning more money. So of course, you make more money. So I think that's the reason why people make more money in Alberta, which is again, the average as per the Canadian annual salary survey was around 60,000 was an average salary of Albertans as compared to other provinces. So in summary, if Alberta is a place where you make more money, you spend less money, you have more immigration options, and you have a wide range of employment sectors. So this is, in summary, is a big advantage for Alberta, and it's a big economy. Alberta's economy is as big as some of its neighboring provinces like British Columbia, and it's the third largest economy in Canada after Ontario and Quebec. Okay,
sounds like a perfect storm, eh? Lower cost, higher salary, lower taxes, and lots of immigration opportunity. It truly is an interesting offer for international students.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why it's becoming a very attractive option. We're seeing a lot of students moving from neighboring provinces, from Ontario and BC, because of some of these benefits after they arrive. So I think it's better that you come to that place in the first place rather than moving internally within Canada. So we'll go to the next slide and we'll talk a little bit about Edmonton. So Edmonton is a big city. There are only 6 cities in Canada which have more than 1 million population, and Edmonton is one of them. Edmonton, the greater Edmonton area, has roughly 1.2 million population. So it's a big city and capital city of the province of Alberta. And it is also the Canada's youngest and fastest growing city. So it's the second fastest growing city in Canada. And also Edmonton is called the Sunshine City. It's also called the Festival City. There are a lot of festivals, of course, due to COVID right now, we're not having many festivals, but usually we have around festivals in every season. And we have 20 festivals in, spring, summer, winter, and all around the year. Also, it's a very diverse city. So 25% population of Edmonton is immigrants. And again, they come from various countries. It's a modern city. We have a very modern downtown, and it's constantly getting built. It's a sports city. So Edmonton is home to a lot of professional hockey, soccer, football, and all that. So right now the NHL, which is the National Hockey League, because ice hockey is a big thing in Canada. So it is hosted in Edmonton right now. All the games are happening in Edmonton. And also it's a fashion city. So Edmonton is home to North America's largest mall called West Edmonton Mall. And of course, the reason it's attractive because there's 0% provincial sale tax. So it's a paradise for shoppers who wants to go and spend money, and you can get really good deals in West Edmonton Mall. So these are some of the highlights of Edmonton. So we'll go to the next slide, and we'll talk a little. We'll see the pictures, and then we do have a video as well here of the Edmonton, and I'm not sure whether maybe there's no sound. Okay. Because that's always an issue. It's okay. We can skip the video if there is no sound coming in. So this is just our train system. I'll just speak because there's no sound in it. So this is our train system that is in the Edmonton. And this is the Rogers Place. It's one of the place where the ice hockey event is happening. So it's one of the happening place. And again, these are all the stadiums that you see because there's a lot of games that happen. Then this is the Eskimo. So this is the soccer, the American football, not the soccer, the American football team that we have. Okay, so we'll move to the next slide and we'll talk a little bit about the college, who we are. So NorQuest College is a public, post-secondary institution. So we are a community college, and we have roughly around 19,000 students who study with us. And the unique thing about NorQuest College is we are very diverse. So 57% of our students are born outside of Canada. And a lot of these students are new immigrants. They are not international students. They are new immigrants, permanent residents, or new Canadian citizens who are making the majority of our student population. And also Edmonton is home to Canada's second largest Indigenous population. Which are the native people of Canada. So we also have a big Indigenous student population in our domestic student population. So we are very diverse. We have more than 100 languages spoken, and we have a lot of even Indigenous Canadian languages like Cree and others, which are also taught on our campus. So we are very diverse in that, and also we have students from more than 100 countries. So that's just a little overview about the college. And you see in the picture our campus pictures, and this campus is located in the downtown. We have two campuses. One is in downtown Edmonton, and the second campus is in the city of Wetaskiwin. So Wetaskiwin again is an Indigenous city, and it's a very old city, and it's around 100 kilometers from the city of Edmonton. That's where our second campus is. We'll go to our next slide, and we'll talk a little bit about the uniqueness about NorQuest. So what makes us unique? So NorQuest College, I think the one thing that makes us unique is a lot of emphasis on applied learning. And I think the reason why we put a lot of emphasis on applied learning, because in community colleges, we focus heavily on employability rate. Because colleges in Canada don't have ranking, only universities have ranking. The colleges' ranking is mainly their employability rate. And the only way with which students can get a higher chance of getting a job is mainly through the work integrated learning. And that is the reason why, we give a lot of emphasis on the employability. And also we have small classes. So, our average class size is roughly around, I would say, 20 to 30 students. So we have what we call a low student to faculty ratio, which is roughly between 1 to 20 or 1 to 30. We have a lot of support services as well. So our support services have student navigators. We have tutorial and academic centers. We have International Student Services Center, in which we provide free immigration advising. We have career and employment centers. We also have diversity centers because we have international office, we have Indigenous office, we have even immigrant center where we cater to immigrants who come to the college. So we have a lot of services, centers, which probably you'll not find in other colleges. Also, we have a very high-tech facility. So NorQuest College is one of the very few colleges who have been offering online education for a long time. So we have been offering online education for last 20 years. So we are not one of those colleges who started doing online education because of COVID-19. And we are one of the only colleges in Canada which offer nursing program online, which is very hard to offer online. So you need to have a really good technology. We even have simulation practicum. So students can go into virtual environment and they will feel they are in hospital. Well, they are not in the hospital, but they are in the virtual environment. So all the practicums and all that, they're also happening in virtual environment, preparation in that. So we do a lot of high-tech facilities, and we use a lot of what we call AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, those kind of tools, to give a real experience to the students. So these are few things that makes us little different. And also all our programs that we offer, they have co-op options. They have some programs even have paid internship options. Some program have unpaid options, like in health programs and community studies, you'll see all our programs have unpaid option, but our quality of practicum is very high. So for example, in health, we are doing a lot of our practicum with Alberta Health Services. So they are the premier employers in Alberta. So even if you get an unpaid employment, once you go and look for a job, you say, I have done my practicum with Alberta Health Services. Well, the employers will take notice. They'll take you seriously because they know, okay, well, you work with them, then you know your stuff. So I think the quality of the practicum is pretty high. And also we have options of paid internship in certain programs. So that's a huge emphasis at NorQuest College. So we'll go to the next slide and we'll talk a little bit about the programs that we have available and a little bit cost. So we'll start faculty by faculty. So our first faculty I'll talk a little bit about is health studies. This is again a big faculty for us. And then we offer healthcare aid certificate, and anything that you see here is certificate. It's a 1-year program. So we have post-diploma certificates like healthcare leadership, addiction recovery practitioner, it's a post-diploma, mental health recovery, and then we have 4 diplomas like nursing, pharmacy technician, interdisciplinary therapy assistant, and therapeutic recreation. Again, these programs, the certificates are 1 year, diploma are 2 years. And if you see on the extreme right, you see the tuition fee, and this is the all-inclusive price. So this includes tuition and fees. So in fees, you will also have health and dental insurance. You'll have the U pass, which is the bus pass. And then also you have all other things included in it, except your accommodation and books. So just to give you a rough idea, so our pharmacy technician program for 2 years will cost you roughly around $34,731. Healthcare aid is roughly around $17,677. And then healthcare leadership is $19,000. Addiction recovery is $16,000. Mental health is $14,000. So it varies from program to program. And as you see, we offer all our programs in fall, whereas in winter, we offer few programs. In winter, we offer healthcare aid, we offer mental health, we offer practical nursing, and also in spring, we also offer healthcare aid programs. And again, all the programs that you see here has practicum, but they have unpaid practicum in health studies. But the quality of practicum is pretty high because most of our programs are highly regulated by the the association. Like pharmacy technician is regulated by Pharmacy Council and all that. So all the practicums are usually vetted through them, and they are very high quality with the premier employers. And again, in our health studies right now, because of COVID-19, these programs are a little oversubscribed from domestic side as well, and from international side, because there are good job opportunities. And in these programs, I'll point to 2 programs. So healthcare aid and practical nursing. 2 programs, NorQuest College has the largest program in Canada. So we offer the large nursing and healthcare aid program in Canada. And the employers usually come to us if they're hiring a nurse, if they're hiring a healthcare aid, because we are known in the industry for these programs for a long, long time. And even from all over Canada, people know us for nursing because we offer online nursing program for the whole of Canada. Now we're offering for the whole world, but previously it was only offered within Canada students, but now we are offering for the whole world as well. So if you go to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit.
Just a second, before we go further, I want to explain, any program there that's a certificate is a 1-year undergraduate program. Any program that says post-diploma certificate, that's a certificate, that's 1-year program at the graduate level. A diploma will be a 2-year program at the undergrad level, just so people understand. And that's why there's a big price difference. A certificate for 1 year would be, in the case of healthcare aid, would be $17,000, as opposed to a practical nurse would be 43, because it's a 2-year program, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And practical nursing is our most expensive program, and that's always the case because it has a lot of laboratory, and it's an expensive program to run. It's a lot of intensive program to go through to do it in 2 weeks. But yeah, you're right. You did the right explanation. And also for diploma programs, even it's an undergraduate program, we see a lot of students. I would say 70% of our class of our diploma programs have students who have bachelor's degree because they are specialized diploma. They are very career oriented. So we see that mix as well. So coming to community studies, we have these programs like early learning and childcare, community support worker. And again, as Bruno mentioned, all these are undergraduate certificates. So 3 certificates that you see here. And the fee again varies between $15,000 to $20,000 in here. And then the diplomas like early learning and childcare diploma is like around $31,000 for 2 years. Then child and youth care is $35,000, disability studies, social work, justice, and settlement studies. Again, these are all programs which also have practicum, and these are mandatory practicums. But again, they are unpaid. But again, the quality of the practicum is pretty good. So in spite of being an unpaid practicum, the quality is good that students can get employment after that. As I mentioned in the demand, the early learning and childcare program is a little bit always oversubscribed from domestic side and international side because such a high demand in Alberta. Also, child and youth care is also a program which fills up very quickly on domestic side and also in international side because there's such a high demand again in job. Social work is also one of those programs. And you'll be surprised to know that social work is one of the most highly paid jobs in Alberta because of there's such a high demand in social work field. And also we have few programs like disability studies, which are a little unique because you're working with disabled children, and settlement studies is also a little unique. This is mainly working with newcomers, new immigrants in settlement agencies. So this is also a unique program to us. Not many institutions offer it. And then we have, of course, justice, where we focus on criminal law. We also focus on Aboriginal law because as we have a big indigenous population in our area and they have different laws. So we have to understand that. Also youth law and all that. So there are many aspects to it. And again, the justice program also has an option of paid internship in justice. But again, in justice, because it's criminal justice, so you have to have a really clear criminal record in order to get into that program in that particular field.
So all these programs are qualified for the postgraduate work permit.
Yes.
So if you do a certificate or postgraduate certificate of 1 year, you get 1 year of labor permit after your graduation. If you do a diploma or a post-diploma, a postgraduate diploma, then you get 3 years upon graduation, a 3 years work permit, which is called the famous postgraduate work permit. So because NorQuest College is a public college, all these programs are subject to the postgraduate work permit. Okay?
That is correct. Yeah. Thank you, Bruno. And we'll go to the next slide. So we'll talk a little bit about the business programs. And we have one new program. I'm going to talk about that. So we have accounting technician. As I mentioned before, accounting technician and bookkeepers are in huge demand. And we do have, again, a placement, a co-op placement in that program. It's a 1 year undergraduate certificate. And we have find a lot of our students probably even find a job after their placement because there's such a high demand for bookkeepers and accounting technicians in Alberta. And that program is also around $19,000. Then we have administrative professional. So as I mentioned, also again in the demand that there is a lot of jobs for receptionists in Alberta as well and frontline workers. So the administrative professional program has been very good for those kind of occupations. And again, that program is around 16,000. Then we have business program. So business program is a 2-year diploma, and it's around $37,000, including tuition and fees. And this program has 4 specialization like accounting, finance, management, and human resource. And the business program also have paid internship options after their first year and second year. So if a student apply for it, again, it's not guaranteed. Student have to apply it. If they get it, then they can get up to 4 months of internship after first year, 4 months after second year, and they can get $18 an hour salary. Also, we have two program very specifically to oil and gas sector. We have environmental protection technology program. So in our energy sector, the environmental protection technologists are becoming a norm. Every sector is getting it. And also we have energy management that you see. We have a new program in here. So energy management is probably, we are the only post-secondary institution in the whole of Alberta which offers this energy management diploma. And we are going to offer this program from September 2021. And this program is a little unique, and it also helps students once they complete this program. They can do some additional training and they can get this certificate. They can become leaders in energy and environmental design. They can also become what we call certified energy managers in the industry, in energy sector, or we call it lead green associate. I know these kind of maybe title may not make sense to you, but when you are in the energy sector, so these are some of the credentials, and these are some of kind of designations that really right now are in very high demand in energy sector, and they focus a lot on energy management. And a lot of focus is on that. It is mostly on micro generation, supply chain management, community energy, emission planning. So those are the few things that you go into nitty-gritty study it, and is something that is becoming in huge demand right now within the energy sector, because the traditional petroleum and all that kind of blue collar jobs are little going away, and there are different kind of jobs are coming within the energy sector.
Yeah, that's good to hear as well, because as we are slowly moving away from oil and gas and moving into new technology, right?
Yes. So this is a very good and new program, and that this is we're going to launch now for September 2021. And then we have another program. I'm not going to talk about it. Maybe we'll have that program very soon. And then maybe in our next presentation, we can talk about it. We are looking into have a program called Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. And that is because in Edmonton, you are seeing a lot of artificial intelligence organizations. Alberta has its own now, Alberta Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Institution. And we are bringing a lot of companies which are now doing into artificial intelligence. So I'll not talk about it because that program still has to be approved, but we have plans to offer that program also in September 2021. Okay. So we'll go to the next slide and we'll talk a little bit about the foundation programs. And also we have another unique program I'm going to talk. So we do have ESL program. NorQuest College has Alberta's largest ESL program. And we get the Government of Canada's largest grant to run our ESL program as well for new immigrants and for refugees. And also we also have international students coming to the program. We also have a NorQuest Bridging program. This is also a new program that we have. And this is mainly for students who cannot meet our requirement, who cannot meet our English language requirement, who cannot meet our high school requirement. And then they have to do that before they get into the program. So this NorQuest Bridging program is a pathway program to all our programs. So you can take that program maybe for 1 year, 1 semester, 2 semester, depends how much it takes you. But after that, you have a guaranteed seat in the program, and then you go into the program. And also one good thing about NorQuest Bridging program is that you can take some courses from your program while you're into the NorQuest Bridging program. So for example, if you're doing ESL, you can take some courses from your program while you're doing your ESL, which you don't have to repeat again, because of course you'll get credit transfer for those. And then you can eventually move into your program and do that. So this NorQuest Bridging program, we are going to offer now in spring 2021. So we have the intake for that. And we are going to update the tuition fee, because our tuition fee is going to be a little less than what it shows here. So it will be roughly around $5,500. And in the NorQuest Bridging program, the good thing we are doing, and I'm going to share that in later on, is that we also have entrance scholarship. So we are giving 10 students $1,000 scholarship for NorQuest Bridging program. And again, the criteria is that those students who have to write a letter saying their educational and career goals, and that's it. So based on that letter, then we will choose 10 students to get $1,000. So if the tuition fee is going to be $5,500, it will go down to $4,500 because you will get a $1,000 scholarship for NorQuest Bridging program to do your ESL or whatever you want to. So that's a new thing that we are offering. Also, we have another unique program called Teaching English as Additional Language. So this is mainly for people who are English teachers in their home country and they want to be an English teacher in Canada. So this is a unique program, and then we offer this one-year program, and then student can get a license to become an English teacher in Alberta. And then within our own institution, we hire a lot of English teachers. So usually 30 to 40% of the class that graduates, well, we hire to become teachers in our college. And then we also, of course, they go and work in school system. They work in a university system because we have University of Alberta, we have McQueen University, so we have other options as well. So again, going into the programs we are available for winter and spring, we will talk a little bit. So these are some of the programs we still have offer, and we have seats available for winter. So if you're looking for winter, we have all the 3 business programs. We have mental health, we have ESL, we have academic upgrading. And again, we have entrance scholarship of $1,000 that is applicable for winter for administrative professional program only. And then in spring, we are offering early learning and childcare diploma, healthcare aid certificate, and NorQuest Bridging program. And as I mentioned, it's a conditional admission into target program. And we are offering $1,000 as entrance scholarship to students who are applying for NorQuest Bridging program. And that, of course, reduces your tuition fee. Then coming to the ESL, so we have these levels from level 4 to level 9, and then we have starts from IELTS level 4 and we go to IELTS level 7. And if you are at level 5, we can give you a conditional admission in the bridging program for your target program. If you're also in the level 6, we can give that as well. And each level, it takes around 4 months. So it takes 4 months or 1 semester to complete each level, to go from one level to another. And that's how our ESL works. So we go from level 4 to level 7. That's a pretty wide range. And I think a lot of our students either start from level 4, like IELTS 4 level. So the 2 ways to get into our ESL program is either you can do a placement exam when you're campus. But if you want to do you want to know which level you are, we usually tell students to give a Duolingo exam online. And based on that, we can give them placement. And once they do the placement exam, they don't have to give a placement exam again if they have a Duolingo score. With Duolingo score, they can go into the ESL program. Okay. Also, we have scholarships. So this is scholarship that we give to students who are currently our students. So we give anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 scholarship for students every semester. And we have total scholarship that we give on a yearly basis just to international student is around $50,000. And then in our college system, students can apply. They can get anywhere, they can get up to $4,000 or $5,000. And we're giving away around $300,000 in scholarships in our college system. So there are a lot of options for scholarship for good students. And again, this is an academic scholarship that we have. In admission requirement, I'll just quickly go through that. So if you go to the next slide, we from a high school credential, we, of course, I'm highlighting Mexico here. So we have, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Bachillerato maybe. And then this is what the high school credential that we accept. So usually from Mexico and from Latin American countries, what we usually do is we equate some of the courses. So if you have done a maths in Mexico, we'll take it as maths as Canada, chemistry as chemistry, physics as physics. But for English, what we do is we equate your Spanish marks. So whatever you got marks in your Spanish, we equate it to the English marks. And based on that, how we do our admission. So we call it language arts equivalency. And then we say your native language is Spanish and native language in Canada is English. So we equate the marks that way. For the English language proficiency, So for our business program, our requirement is IELTS 6 with no band less than 5.5. And then also for healthcare aid program, we also need the same bands. We call it band E. For Duolingo, we need 105. For our health programs, for our community studies program, we need IELTS 6.5 with no band less than 6 or a Duolingo score of 115. We also accept Cambridge exam, Cambridge English Language Assessment. We also accept PTE academic and TOEFL as well. Also for our pharmacy technician, we also need 6.5 with no band less than 6. For our nursing, we need a really high IELTS. So that's the only program where we need IELTS 7. So we need 7.5 in listening, 7 in speaking, 6.5 in reading, 7 in writing, or 94 in TOEFL. Or a student can do our ESL program and they can go to level 9. And after doing level 9, they can go into the nursing program. So we do ESL program, pathway to the nursing program. So also, NorQuest College is a lot about accessibility. So for some reason, if you don't meet our requirement, you can challenge exam. So for example, you have less marks in your maths, and then you say, I want to challenge exam. Yes, you can write an online maths exam from your home country. And if you pass that exam, you're into the program. So you can challenge an exam. That's something unique for admission. And if for some reason you don't pass that exam, then you have two more options. You can do an academic upgrading online or in person in Canada, or you can do a NorQuest bridging program in which you can do a maths, you can do an ESL or whatever you have to in order to meet the requirement. So you can definitely do all those kind of things in order to meet the requirement. So I'll go through the last few things, which is immigration updates, and then we'll take your questions. So some of the good news that already Bruno has shared is that, yes, the Canada is opening its border to international students starting from October 20th. So right now, the Canada is going to prepare a list of the institutions which are ready to host students. And fortunately, we are on that list. I know it's not public right now, but I can definitely share that, we are on that list. And then those students coming to those lists will be helped by that institution in their quarantine plan, and then also some assistance in their life support like food and medication. So we have some options already for students. So we are working with a lot of hotels within Edmonton where student will have accommodation and meal plan included in it. And they'll go through a strict quarantine and self-isolation that is required. And again, this new rule only applies to those students who have a study visa. So for ETAs and others, right now there's no clarity. So it's only going to be applicable for students who have study permits approved, not stage 1, not those students. So we have no clarity whether this will be for stage 1. It is mainly for students who have their study permit or letter of introduction. Okay, so if you go to the next, how the things look like as of now if you're studying online from outside Canada. So if you're studying from outside Canada, you're still eligible for postgrad work permit. If you have a study permit, if you have applied for your study permit for spring, summer, fall 2020 or January 2021, and you can definitely count the time that you spend online studies from outside, but provided you get your stage 2 approval at the end. And this exemption is only applicable until April 30th, 2021. So right now, as this exception is only through April 30th, 2021, so this is mainly for short-term programs. If you're doing a 1-year program, you can do your whole 1-year program from outside and still be eligible for post-graduation work permit. But if you're doing a 2-year program, you can only do 50% maximum from outside. And if you want to do 2 1-year programs, you can do 1 year from outside, and the other 1 year you can do 50% in Canada. So that's how this works, the post-grad work permit eligibility. So if you go to the next slide, that's the last slide I have. And this is mainly about work and staying in Canada. So as Bruno mentioned, we are a public institution. So all our programs are eligible for postgrad work permit. So you don't have to be concerned about that. It all depends on how long you study. The amount based on that you get your postgrad work permit. And as I mentioned before, that immigration is one of the attractiveness of Alberta. So we have Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program, because in Canada, every province have their own immigration program. And we have 2 streams, Alberta Opportunity Stream and Alberta Express Entry. So in Alberta Opportunity Stream, if a student studies 2-year diploma, 1-year post-diploma, or 1-year post-baccalaureate, they need only 6 months of experience in their own field of study. And based on that, they can apply for immigration as long as they have an IELTS score of 5 band and they have a job when they applied. And for express entry also in Alberta, you need only 300 points or more. Whereas in the rest of Canada, usually you need 460, 470, 490, around that range of points in order to have a successful express entry application. So these are big benefit because these programs really makes the immigration pathway very smooth. And even Alberta Immigrant Nominee mentioned that we have around 65% retention rate of international students in Alberta. Because a lot of these students usually get immigration in Alberta because of the smoother pathways. Again, and they said it average takes 4 years to 4.5 years. Since you arrive, maybe to get everything processed, because it takes its own time to get through the immigration process.
But that includes the 2-year for the diploma?
Yes. Yes.
So it's normal,
Yes.
right? 4 years is not a long time. When you study for 2 years and you work for 1 year, and after that 1 year is when you can apply, right? So
and also in the Alberta Opportunity System, you can even apply after 6 months. So I think that also, yes, that is also there. So yeah, that's probably the next slide is about maybe questions, that if you have any questions. So that brings me to the end of my presentation, and I'll be open to questions if there are any from the students.
Okay, yeah, we have a lot of questions. First of all, I want to just touch base quickly in Spanish to make sure everyone's following.
Sure.
Entonces, lo que nos comentó aquí Suraj es que primero NorQuest es un college público, entonces todos sus programas están sujetos al Postgraduate Work Permit, que es el permiso laboral que nos otorga el gobierno federal canadiense al graduarse de cualquier programa. Si hacemos un certificado o un post-certificado, es de 1 año y nos da un programa, un permiso laboral por 1 año. Si hacemos un diploma o un postgraduate diploma, son programas de 2 años y nos otorga un permiso laboral por 3 años después de graduarse. Eso se otorga a todos quien gradúa de los programas, ¿ok? Es automático. Y normalmente es al año que uno empieza a trabajar. En el caso de Alberta, es desde los 6 meses que uno empieza a trabajar, es cuando ya califica o tiene la mayoría de los requisitos para aplicar por la residencia canadiense, ¿ok? Entonces, eso se hace una vez que ya estamos graduándonos y que empezamos a trabajar, es cuando se hace este proceso. Y nosotros en Class Education le podemos ayudar con ese proceso. También el college le puede ayudar con esta orientación, pero es sencillo y es rápido y es fácil, ¿ok? Bueno, hablamos que los colleges en Canadá no son rankeados, sino son calificados en base al porcentaje de sus egresados que consiguen trabajo. En el caso de NorQuest, Suraj, what is the percentage of graduates that find work within the 3 months of graduation?
Yeah, it's the 95% within 6 months of graduation.
95%. So if you don't work, it's because you don't want to, or maybe because you got a broken toe, you can't work. Otherwise, if you want to work, you find work in Alberta, right?
Yeah. I think there are. I think, of course, things have little been off right now because of COVID-19. But yeah, I think things are getting back to track now.
Okay. Now, we talked also about minimum salary, the perfect storm in Alberta, which is higher salaries than the average in Canada, lower cost of living than big cities like Vancouver and Toronto, lower tax than anywhere else in the country, because there's no provincial tax. So tax is about 5% in Ontario, in Alberta, as opposed to 14% in Ontario and 12% in BC, for example. So that produces an economy, a very strong economy, where people on average make more money and spend less money because of taxes and cost of living. Okay, very interesting, and there's lots of opportunities for work. And again, the reason for colleges to exist to begin with in Canada is to supply the work demand in the area of the college. So in Edmonton, Alberta, NorQuest College being the public college in the area, their reason for being is to produce young individuals, graduate students that can work in what the economy around Alberta is looking for. So all those programs have high demand in the work market, and that's what makes it, the success of the Canadian education system basically is because we prepare them for what the market needs today and tomorrow, right? So that's very interesting. Okay. Let's can you guys send me some of the questions that we have? I have a few more questions that I wrote down, but can we start with some of the questions that we have from the staff? There we go. Iván Maldonado, ¿cuánto piden tener dinero en bolsa para salir a Canadá? You're an immigration expert, Shoash. He's asking how much money does Immigration Canada ask to have to show before going to Canada?
Yeah, so if they're applying for study visa, I think they're mainly looking at the expense for the first year. So whether that's the tuition fee and also the cost of living. So again, the tuition fee, again, as you can see, I showed some of the rough range of the tuition fees between around 14,000 to 21. That's the range depending on the program. And the cost of living usually start from $10,000 onwards. And again, it depends if you're coming by yourself, that's roughly around 10,000 something. If you're coming with more dependent, it goes. So I would say roughly, if you want to get a very rough estimate, it's roughly around $27,000 that you have to show that you're able to meet the expense at least for the first year.
Okay. We have been told on several occasions that they were looking at, I believe if one was coming as an individual, they were looking for something around 200,000 pesos or the equivalent, which is about $12,000. Is that correct?
Yes. So I think from the living expense, that's the map. Everything 12,000. You mean for cost of living and the tuition fee?
Yeah. Well, that was what the immigration, for example, the embassy had mentioned to us, approximately $12,000. But
yeah, I think you can start there. But again, if you want to be on a very safer ground, I think a lot of students sometimes pay 1 year tuition fee in advance. And sometimes people pay 1 semester fee in advance. So I think paying tuition fee in advance is also one of the ways to demonstrate that you are a genuine student and you've already committed some of the money to the tuition. And also, I think, but the factor is that the living expense for the first year and as well as the tuition fee. You don't have to, but you have to at least demonstrate in your savings that you have that much money.
Yeah, and you don't have to have that money in your bank account. It could be
you don't,
your parents' account, your account. It could be a grandparent. It could be an uncle. As long as there's a little supporting letter that says, "Hey, this is my grandson," or "This is my nephew," and it's not really a legal contract anyway, right?
No, it's not illegal. Yes,
there's some help behind you, right?
Yes. So I think it's mainly they're looking is that you're soluble enough. Your financial is soluble. Yes.
Right. So back before COVID, we recommended we had to pay the first semester ahead of time, and it helped to have it paid before applying for the visa. Now we are recommending people to pay one and even more than one, maybe the first year in tuition fees, because as you said, it shows more commitment. It shows more security for the government. Remember, the world is looking at Canada to go study nowadays, and Canada can only take so many students, right? So they will take the best ones, or the more secure ones, or the ones that they feel will eliminate the risk of having to support those students while in Canada, right? So I think if we pay at least one semester, if we pay two, I think a little more security as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. Next question.
I think overall, the Mexico also has a higher approval rate, being a visa exempt country. So I think that also plays into advantages.
Yeah. Okay, Alfredo Barajas, do I need an English certification to apply for the ESL or bridging program?
Yes, not an English certificate, but what we tell students and recommend students to take an online Duolingo exam. Because in that way, they have a high predictability what level they are going. Because a lot of times students come to us, they want to know how much time they will spend in the ESL program. So right now, we don't have an online placement test. We are working on it. I don't know how much time it's going to take to that. So right now, we are recommending students you take an online Duolingo exam, which costs less than $50 US. And then based on that, we can place students in the bridging program or the ESL program.
Okay.
And then they don't have to give a placement exam once they arrive in Canada.
Okay. Roberto Cardona. Roberto had several questions, but here's one of his questions. Where do we could apply for that scholarship for ESL? Where can we apply for the scholarship?
So that applies to NorQuest Bridging Program. So when a student applies for NorQuest Bridging Program, and once they register for the courses, that usually they apply at least 2 months prior to the start of the program.
Yep.
So 2 months prior to that, then you will, again, it's an online application. You'll say, I'm in this program, NorQuest Bridging, I want to apply for scholarship. And they will ask you, can you write few words about your career goals and educational goals? And then based on that, we will select 10 candidates. And then those 10 candidates will get $1,000 scholarship. Then, of course, we'll lower the tuition fee. And that applies to the NorQuest Bridging Program. And in that bridging program, you can do the ESL or whatever you want to meet the requirement of the program.
Okay. So, te recuerdo, Roberto, que toda la parte de aplicación y de registro, todo eso lo hacemos a través de Class Education, y Class Education te va guiando que a través de todas esas oportunidades de becas que tienes, como la entry, bursary y otras, ¿no? Entonces, es una ventaja más de hacerlo a través de Class Education para aprovechar todas estas becas, porque van y vienen y de repente hay unas y de repente hay unas nuevas. Entonces, al hacer a través de nosotros, tenemos nosotros un buen entendimiento de todo eso y te vamos coacheando y guiando por este proceso para asegurarnos que consigues esas becas y la mayor cantidad de becas que se pueda, ¿no? Ok, ¿qué otra pregunta hay? Alejandro Hernández, ¿puedo tomar cualquier programa solo con mi certificado de preparatoria en México o necesito título universitario? Okay, he wants to know if you can take any of your programs with simply having a high school diploma from Mexico. So basically, the response is yes.
Yes.
As long as it's not a postgraduate program,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
So certificate, any diploma is eligible if you have a high school diploma and the level of English that you require for that program.
That is correct. Yeah.
Ok, Alejandro, espero haberte contestado. Con tu prepa y con el nivel correspondiente de inglés, puedes entrar en cualquier programa, mientras no sea un programa posgrado, obviamente, porque para eso sí necesitas una licenciatura para entrar. Ok. Sergio Dena, do you request GMAT or GRE for business programs? Quick answer is no.
No.
The quick answer is no, and the long answer is no. Basically. Okay. Roberto, another question from Roberto. What if they are just graduated from University of Mexico like me? I have finished my major in mechatronic engineering and I'm interested in the sector for energy management.
Yes, and we have, I would say, all our students in environmental protection, and now we're getting applications for energy management. I would say 100% of our class is prior bachelor students in engineering because these are specialized diploma. And these are what we call environmental protection is mostly technologist diploma. And the energy management is more like a certified energy manager if you want to work in that sector. And then again, mechatronics is a good combination of mechanical and electronics. So you come with that background and you can go and work in energy sector. And I think that energy management will give you a lot of perspective about supply chain of energy, also emission control, emission planning, energy saving. So all those kind of, I think, and of course, you can also get some industry certification after that for your employability.
Okay, I have another question here that people ask me all the time. If you do the non-paid co-op program that you have, does that work? Does that qualify as for the 6 months that you require for work experience upon graduation?
No, so the unpaid practicum does not count, but the paid practicum does count towards the 6 months. So in energy management, for example, we do have 4 months of paid internship. So student can apply for paid internship and we can find some options for him. And then if he has to give an interview and if they're selected, they can work in an energy sector for 4 months. But yeah, the answer is that unpaid practicum does not count, but the quality of practicum is very high for unpaid as well.
Is it fair to say that a lot of the students that work in a non-paid co-op end up working for that employer afterwards?
Yes, in a lot of cases, I think in health, it's still happening even in COVID times. But I would say prior to COVID times, yes, it was happening a lot.
Okay, very good. Let's talk a little bit, Suraj, about the cost of living in Edmonton. How much is
An average
one
yeah.
two-bedroom apartment?
So a one-bedroom apartment, because I myself rented one-bedroom apartment when I came to Edmonton, so I can tell you from experience. So the one-bedroom apartment usually is between 700 to 850 Canadian dollars, and that's not very far away from downtown. And you can get a very good two-bedroom apartment for between, I would say, 850 to 950, or maybe maximum $1,000. And again, we do also have capital housing project with the city of Edmonton. So if a student comes a little earlier, or they apply a little earlier with city of Edmonton, they can find a very, very affordable accommodation. And there's a huge range from $400 to $700 per month.
Okay, and you can assist the students with that, or through us,
Yes.
we can assist them through you, type of thing?
Yes, yeah. So we can guide them where to go and look for apartments, some property management companies, and also the contact in the city of Edmonton.
Okay. $750 a $850 para 1 o 2 recámaras, un departamento. Eso es más barato que vivir en la del Valle, en la Ciudad de México. Yo tenía un departamento que pagaba 20,000 pesos al mes, y $800 son 13,000 pesos al mes. Entonces, la verdad, muy, muy accesible. Recuerden que mientras están estudiando pueden trabajar medio tiempo. Y si trabajan medio tiempo, lo peor que les puede pasar es ganar el salario mínimo. Eso son $15 la hora. Hagan el cálculo, $15 por 20 horas a la semana por 4 semanas al mes. Les da más o menos un ingreso de $1,200 canadiense al mes. Y pues con $1,200 ya vimos que pagan su comida, su hospedaje, su transporte, que está incluido inclusive en su colegiatura, y les da un ingreso más o menos de casi 20,000 pesos mensual, ¿no? Trabajando medio tiempo, ganando lo menos que pueden ganar, que son $15 la hora por ley. Ahora, obviamente, siendo estudiante de la universidad, puede ser que ganen más que el salario mínimo, puede ser que ganen 17, 18, 20, $25 la hora, y eso pues hace que ganan más por mes, ¿no? Teníamos una señorita el otro día que estaba con nosotros en un webinario y nos dijo que trabaja en un restaurante ganando el salario mínimo, y entre su salario y sus propinas tiene un promedio de $25 por hora que ganaba. Entonces, otra vez, hagan el cálculo, 25 por 20 por 4, le da su ingreso mensual. Creo que ganaba como pues, más de $2,000 por mes y pagaba $700 de renta. Entonces, está hecho para que realmente uno se puede sostener mientras está estudiando, y eso está muy bien. Y que al graduarse pues ya encuentra trabajo a una tasa del 95%. Ok, ¿qué otra pregunta tenemos para tomar? Mr. LGGM, si ya se cuenta con una licenciatura administrativa en México y el interés es que un programa en un área diferente, healthcare, por ejemplo, ¿qué tan probable se tiene de que la visa sea aprobada? Okay, interesting question. If someone has studied in administration in Mexico and would be interested in going to health services or healthcare, how probable is it for them to get their visa approved if they don't come from that background?
I think they do have a high chance. I think the first thing probably is they have to meet the requirement. And if they meet the requirement, I think the mainly thing that we are looking for health program is the science background students who have done like biology, maths, or chemistry. If they have done it, again, it varies from program to program. I don't see any issue, even if they're coming from the administrative side, as long as they meet the requirement. Yeah, they can get. But of course, I think if there is any mismatch or they think that the career progression doesn't make sense for students, we always recommend students to include a study plan document, which explains why they have chosen that program. So that is like what we call study plan letter of explanation, in which student can explain, well, this is their background and why they're choosing this program. So they tell their story rather than visa officer makes, their story. So
Assumption, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sí, eso es lo que, LG, eso es lo que hacemos, ¿no? En clase tenemos un departamento de visados, y es lo que recomendamos, siempre dar una carta que explica un poquito por qué te quieres ir allí, si vienes de un background de administración, por qué te quieres ir en salud, Entonces lo explicas, ¿no? Para que no haya asunción o que la persona de inmigración no piensa cosas que no son. Entonces, una carta de apoyo, de soporte de eso, creo que es bienvenida. Y creo que, pero por asunto de visa no lo veo ningún problema. Nada más, como decía Suraj, lo más importante es que tengas los cursos que se requieren para entrar en el programa de salud, ¿no? Porque si vienes de un background administrativo, quizás no tengas algunos programas como química o esas cosas. Entonces, es más por allá, ¿no? Sí, pero si tienes lo que se requiere para aplicar por parte de inmigración, con una carta explicando por qué el cambio, si es porque tienes un interés por la área, ves muchos empleos en el futuro en esta área y quieres trabajar y encontraste que te gusta trabajar en esta área, es más que suficiente, no le encuentro mucho problema. Ok, ¿qué otra pregunta? Tenía otra pregunta de mucha gente que siempre nos preguntan también, dice, NorQuest, sorry, this question is for you. NorQuest, again, a typical young executive, maybe in their 30s, married with 2 children, can they go and how does it work? So basically, if it's the husband or the wife register at your program, what happens what's the situation with the family?
Yeah, so I think either of the, I would say the spouse, whether that's a man or the woman, they can definitely enroll in the program. We do have a lot of couples who come to us. And then one is enrolled as a student. The other one, of course, can get an open work permit because there's a student who is going to the school. And of course, we also have children who are accompanying as well in few cases where the children can also go to the school. And if the student is enrolled in a program which leads to a certificate or a diploma, the child can get even a free education in our school systems within Alberta as well. And also for the accommodation, they can, of course, opt for a 2-bedroom apartment. And even if they're looking for more space for even townhouses, you can rent a townhouse for $1,200 a month. And that's usually, pretty affordable and then you have a lot of space for that. And we have a lot of townhouses, complexes close to the college as well. But we do have a lot of spouses who are coming, and they're coming as family, to study with us. And we have programs where even diploma programs where a lot of mature applicants are coming who are in their 30s because our programs are mostly specialized diplomas.
Yeah. Ok, entonces, ya esa era la pregunta justo de Armando Cruz, ¿no? Si voy a estudiar a NorQuest College, mi esposa y mi hija obtienen visa para Canadá también. La respuesta es sí, Armando. Entonces, lo que pasa es que, nada más repitiendo lo que acaba de decir, tú estudias o tu esposa estudia, uno de los dos, tú puedes trabajar medio tiempo mientras estudias y al graduarte tienes tu permiso de 3 años para trabajar en Canadá. Mientras tanto, tu esposa puede trabajar desde el inicio, tiempo completo, y después que te gradúas, su permiso sigue válida por esos 3 años también. Y tu hija o tus hijos, mientras tengan 5 años y más, pueden entrar en el sistema educativo público canadiense gratuitamente. Tus hijos pueden estudiar todo ese tiempo gratuitamente sin que tengas que pagar nada. ¿Okay? La verdad que son pocos los países en el mundo que ofrecen esos beneficios. Creo que Canadá es el único que lo ofrece. Es una gran ventaja y que hace que eso es un proyecto sustentable, ¿no? Que uno puede estudiar y trabajar al mismo tiempo, o su pareja también puede trabajar y los niños a la escuela gratuitos. Se eliminan muchos gastos. En la colegiatura está incluido el seguro médico, en la colegiatura está incluido el pase mensual del transporte público. Entonces, hay muchísimas cosas para apoyarlos, para reducir los gastos y para hacer que este proyecto realmente funcione para todos. Okay. The government of Canada announced a few months ago, that up to 50% of the program could be done online because of COVID, right? So someone that was starting in May 2020 or September 2020 could start online and continue into the January program online and finish the other 50% of the program, if it's a 2-year program, the other 50% presential, and this would not affect their postgraduate work permit, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Yes.
Now, what happens is now that we heard the news last Friday, that Canada is reopening. Does that mean that everybody has to go to Canada, or we can still do the January semester online, right?
Mhm.
And join in maybe in May or in September 2021, or we can go in January, or we can go in May, or so there's different options open to us now, right?
Yes, so I think the online study and still be eligible for postgrad work permit, that exception is there until April 30th, 2021. So I don't see that change happening. So I think what the government is doing is they are allowing students who have study permits and those to come to Canada. And maybe the next step will be once the visa application centers open in a lot of countries, then students who have stage 1 visa and who want to have a stage 2 visa, and then they'll be allowed to come in. So I think this is happening a phase by phase approach. So first the government is allowing students who have study permit, then they'll come to probably the stage 1, and then they'll get stage 2, then they'll come in. But that exception that they can study online is still there until April 30th, 2021.
Okay, so right now, anyone that started with you or with any other college in Canada in September, online, and maybe they have stage 1 approval on their visa, they cannot travel to Canada after October. They still have to get their stage 2. And we don't know when this is going to happen. We expect more news from the government on Thursday, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Tuesday, and on October 13, I think. We're putting this plan together. We know that, first of all, there'll be a list of eligible schools, which is the DLI list of schools. You are DLI approved, so you will be on that list. And then, so then we need to know when they will reopen the biometrics for Mexico,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
And that's an important. All right. So we're looking to hear about this in the next few days, weeks, at the latest, right?
I think by 20th of October, like in 15 days, we'll have full clarity on this.
Okay, but it's coming. It's being put together as we speak, and it's coming. So, so what I want to say here is that this is the right time to start, right? This is the right time to
apply.
Book a meeting with class. Let's do a meeting with class, the potential client, and you, Suraj, if you're available, and let's talk about this, and let's get those applications in. So we're first in line, so we can get there in time to be in Edmonton in January, or in May 2021, or in September 2021.
Yeah, that's true. And I think what we are anticipating that after 20th of October, there are going to be a lot of applications coming. So people who are waiting for the last moment may not find seat until for probably 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Ok, Víctor Díaz, Class Education te ayuda para hacer el registro del hospedaje y para entrar a la universidad. Sí, es correcto, Víctor. Nosotros te apoyamos en, orientarte sobre la mejor institución para tus necesidades, el programa que te corresponde, todos los requisitos que necesitamos juntar para la aplicación. Aplicamos para ti. Hacemos eso todos los días. Tenemos un equipo que se dedica a eso. Y damos seguimiento a tu aplicación hasta que logramos la aceptación. Una vez que tenemos eso, te informamos y ya nuestro departamento de visado entra en contacto contigo para darte una lista otra vez de documentos que necesitamos para hacer tu visa de estudio y trabajo. Entonces, todo este proceso lo hacemos nosotros. Es la manera que acompañamos a nuestros alumnos en este proceso para evitar errores, tiempo perdidos y malas noticias, ¿no? Entonces, obviamente. Entonces, es muy importante, es el trabajo que hacemos. Por ese trabajo, nosotros tenemos un coaching fee de $565 y precisamente para este webinario y la noticia que salió el viernes pasado, sacamos una promoción especial que yo anuncié el día sábado. Creo que en YouTube lo saqué cuando llegué al aeropuerto de Vancouver, cuando me regresé de México. A ver si la tenemos ahí en la pantalla. Ofrecemos un 30% de descuento en nuestro coaching fee. Eso lo anuncié el día sábado. Es válido solamente por una semana. Era para celebrar esta noticia, esta gran noticia que dijo Canadá, que volvemos a abrir la frontera para estudiantes internacionales. Y la verdad, estaba tan emocionado el sábado que dijo, ok, quiero que ya por fin podemos aplicar, por fin podemos viajar. Lanzamos una promoción especial. Así que todos quienes están en esta llamada, todos quienes ven este webinario y que quieren hacerlo y lo pueden hacer antes este sábado, el próximo sábado, adelante recibirán un 30% de descuento en el coaching fee de Class Education ya para iniciar el proceso. Aplicamos, juntamos documentos, vámonos, es importante. Otra vez, como decía hace ratito, el mundo está viendo a Canadá para ir a estudiar, y la forma que Canadá está manejando y está saliendo de la crisis de la pandemia del COVID, mucha gente dice, wow, y mucha gente dice, es donde quiero hacer un futuro académico, quizás un futuro permanente, y Canadá dice, bienvenidos, a eso venimos, y Class Education es quien les puede apoyar en toda esta transición, este proceso, este sueño de estudiar en Canadá. Entonces, ahí está, un descuento especial, solo una semana, porque normalmente no hacemos descuento, pero eso era tan buena noticia que decidimos hacerlo porque estaba muy emocionado. Okay, what other questions do we have? Let's take some more questions. For how long are you going to be taking Duolingo test? That's a good question.
Yeah, so yeah, we are accepting Duolingo test even for September 2021, January 2022, spring 2022. So we are going to carry on with Duolingo test as an accepted test to meet the language requirement of the program. And also we are recommending that test to be taken for placement into ESL as well.
Wow, very good news. Duolingo es mucho más económico que un test IELTS, por ejemplo. Test IELTS cuesta como 6-7 mil pesos. El Duolingo cuesta $49 americanos, que son como 2,000 pesos. Entonces, un buen descuento y una buena ayuda por parte de NorQuest College. ¿Qué otra pregunta hay? Ivette Domínguez, ¿existen becas de universidades y cuáles son los requisitos? Okay. What are the bursaries that you have and what are the requirements? Some of them are just show up, right? I mean, the entry bursary is just to be accepted. It's an automatic bursary.
Yeah, so the entrance, the bursary or the scholarships that we have, so that is being mainly dependent on the letter that the students write when they're submitting the scholarship application for the bridging program. But for the other programs like administrative professional and the post-secondary programs, we also look at the percentage. But for the NorQuest bridging, mainly for which is ESL, we just look at their compelling reason for their career and their personal option. And that's pretty much it. So that's
through a letter that they write, right?
Yeah. Yes. So that's the letter, and that's how, or you can say it an essay. Some people say letter. So it's just a one-pager with 2 or 3 paragraphs, and they just explain their story. So based on that, the ones that we give scholarship when they are our student, which they can apply every semester, that is purely academic based. So in that, we want students have at least 82% or above. And if they have 82% or above, yeah, they have a very high chance of getting a scholarship.
Ok, 82% por arriba tienen muy buena posibilidad de conseguir esas becas semestre tras semestre. Ok, los precios que vimos hace ratito eran precios, por los que lo van a ver mañana cuando vean la grabación, pero los precios que vimos son precios anuales, en el caso de un programa de 1 año, o cuando era un programa de 2 años, el precio de todo el programa, o sea, de 2 años, ¿no? Entonces, los precios se pueden pagar por semestre, por año, como uno desea hacerlo. Normalmente se paga por semestre, pero recientemente con lo de migración y con tanta gente aplicando, para tener más chance recomendamos pagar 1 año completo. Nos ayuda en el proceso de la visa, pero son precios por el programa completo. ¿Okay? Alejandro Hernández, el precio es por año. Ah, mira, qué buen timing tengo. The price is per year or per course. When it was a certificate, it was the price for 1 year, which is also for the whole program. And when it was Diploma, which was a 2-year program, the price was for the 2-year program, Alejandro, okay? So yes. When you see something above $20,000, I mean, it's for more than 1 year, basically, because the average price at NorQuest is between $15,000 and $17,000 per year. So 2 years, $34,000, $35,000 for the 2-year program. Again, you can pay per year or you can pay per semester. We know that if you pay the full year ahead of time, it helps your chances with the visa, but it's not a requirement. It helps, but you can also pay by semester. Okay?
Yeah.
I have another point I want to talk upon. It's about financing. A lot of people ask us about financing. So could we start showing? En épocas del COVID hemos visto que muchos de nuestros clientes nos pedían si teníamos fuentes de financiamiento. Entonces, CLAS se dio la tarea de buscar alianzas en México y hemos encontrado varias empresas que se dedican a dar financiamiento específicamente para alumnos que van a estudiar en el extranjero. Ese financiamiento se otorga en pesos mexicanos, se paga directamente a la institución y son préstamos muy flexibles, digamos, ¿no? Le doy aquí un ejemplo en la pantalla. Si fuera un préstamo por 175,000 pesos, ¿no? Nos daría un plan de repago de más o menos 9,700 pesos por mes si fuera 24 meses y un repago si fuera 36 meses de 7,340 pesos. Otra vez, el préstamo puede ser por el monto total que necesitamos, la mitad, del 20%, el 75% es totalmente flexible. También existe la posibilidad de hacer mensualidades escalonadas, es decir, que repagamos menos del préstamo al inicio y más cuando ya terminamos el programa y ya estamos trabajando porque ya estamos ganando más dinero y tenemos mayor capacidad de repago a la institución mexicana, ¿no? Entonces, realmente eso es cuestión de platicarlos con ellos, pero son planes muy flexibles. Lo único que necesitan es una llamadita con ellos, les ponemos en contacto con ellos, le hacen un estudio socioeconómico en 5 o 10 minutos máximo, sin ningún compromiso, sin ningún costo, y les dicen en este momento si son sujetos a un crédito y por cuánto. Y en base al monto que están sujetos por un crédito, van viendo si lo pueden reembolsar a los 6 meses, 1 año, 2 años, hasta 5 años. Entonces, junto con su asesor financiero, van viendo a qué plazo lo quieren manejar. Mientras más largo es el plazo, más baja es la mensualidad y también tienen la posibilidad siempre de prepagar o terminar el préstamo de forma anticipada sin ningún costo de penalización. Entonces, realmente creo que es algo que vale la pena. Si están interesados, contáctense con su asesor de Class Education. Ven nuestro correo en la pantalla y nuestro WhatsApp y estamos a sus órdenes. Una razón más por no detenerse, una razón más que hace que esos programas de estudios en Canadá son factibles, es factible realizarlos y no detenerse por un factor de incertidumbre, un factor como COVID que a veces pone muchas incertidumbres en nuestras vidas en este momento. Okay? Very good, Suraj. We're going to have to end this call very soon. It's already been an hour and a half. Hay otras preguntas. Creo que había unas, pero no sé si nos alcanza el tiempo. Quizás una o dos más, si hay. A ver si hay. Yo tenía una que vi hace ratito. A ver, Sergio Dena, ¿qué opción tengo de entrar en NorQuest College si ya estoy actualmente aplicando a un programa similar, pero en Quebec? Solo esperando Study Permit Biometrics. Ofrecen ayuda para el proceso de cambio. Okay. He's asking, is it possible for me to apply at NorQuest if I've already applied to another college in Quebec? Mm-hmm. No problem at all.
No problem at all.
You can apply to many programs at the same time. These colleges don't talk to each other, and even if they did, there's no issue. You could be accepted by 5 colleges at the same time and having to decide which one you want to go to, Sergio. So if I were you, I would apply to more than one place because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if the college is going to accept you, if not, and there's all kinds of situations. So I would apply to more than one college and go ahead. So just leave us your contact information and we can start the process with NorQuest as early as tomorrow. You can take advantage of the lower fees right now that we have on promotion. Okay?
Yeah, and I just want to mention one more thing, Bruno, that is that any student who's applying from this presentation today, we'll give them application waivers. So again, we have a reimbursement, we have doing application waivers, but we can give application waivers to any application numbers who are applying after this presentation.
Okay, one more reason to apply tomorrow. It's a little late for today, but tomorrow we could do it.
Yes.
Todos quienes están en este webinario pueden aplicar a NorQuest College a través de CLAS sin ningún costo. Entonces, es una ventaja. Okay. Suraj, thank you very much. It was good to touch base with you and get an update on the new Canada announcement that was made on Friday. So we're pending more information on Thursday and on the 15th, I believe. But it certainly sounds encouraging that Canada is finally reopening its doors to international students by October 20th. That's a game changer for anyone that wants to go study in Canada, not just online, but also presential. So we're looking forward for more information on that. I'll leave you a minute to say your last words before we finish the webinar.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say I'll probably end with the same sentiment. I would say, yes, the Canada is opening its borders for international students. So I would say that this is the right time to apply. And what we are seeing is that since that announcement has been made, we're getting a lot of applications from many other markets like India, Philippines, Jamaica, and Nigeria. So the seats are getting filled very soon. So if you are waiting until 20th or maybe end of October, I think it will be too late to get seats because the seats are filling up very quickly. So I would say act now and apply. And as I mentioned before, any student who is applying from class education, we will give them application fee waiver.
Very good. Thank you very much, Suraj. I appreciate that on behalf of all our students. And thanks again for your presentation. It was very informative. And it's nice to have a mix of from the school point of view and from an immigration consultant point of view. Always a nice match.
Yes. Yeah.
Pues muchas gracias a todos. Como dijo Suraj, es bueno aplicar con anticipación. Los programas se llenan. Hay capacidad limitada en los colleges canadienses y también hay una cuota también por alumnos internacionales y alumnos de ciertos países también. Entonces, le dimos muchas razones hoy por ir aplicando la aplicación gratis por parte del college, un 30% de descuento por parte de Class Education en los coaching fee que manejamos. Y Canadá nos dio una excelente razón, como si no fuera suficiente, la posibilidad de trabajar mientras estudiamos, que su pareja puede trabajar tiempo completo mientras uno está estudiando. Los niños pueden estudiar gratuitamente. Al graduarse tendrán el permiso laboral hasta por 3 años. Entonces, la verdad, son muchas las ventajas. Les invito a acercarse a nosotros. Nuestros datos aparecen en la pantalla. Nos pueden contactar y iniciar este proceso, ¿no? Nos encantaría apoyarlos, nos encantaría ser parte de este sueño de estudiar en Canadá con ustedes. Y es todo. Espero que este webinar haya sido útil. Nos vemos el próximo jueves, donde tenemos nuestro siguiente webinario con otro college de Ontario. Y mientras tanto, pues, les deseo una muy buenas noches. Gracias a NorQuest College por participar el día de hoy. Gracias a todos ustedes por ser en nuestra audiencia y al gran equipo de clase que estuvo contestando al mismo tiempo de que el webinario y que dará seguimiento a todas sus inquietudes y por haber puesto este webinario, esta difusión, haciendo este programa posible. Muchísimas gracias a todos. Que tengan una muy buena noche. Nos vemos el próximo jueves. Thank you, Suraj. Have a great night.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, and stay safe. Yeah, bye.